Hello there, third through sixth graders. Welcome back to the Tiger Rising. Yesterday we read chapters 17 and 18. In chapter 17, Willie Mae was being helped by Rob. They were doing the laundry, and as you recall, Rob started talking to her about caged animals. I think he was trying to get her opinion on whether or not they should let the tiger go. And then in chapter 18, along comes the owner of the Kentucky Star, good old Beauchamp. And what does he do? He offers Rob a job and takes him back into the woods with a bag of what appears to be bloody raw meat. Can't imagine what this job might be, but I think we'll probably find out a little bit more about that when we get into chapter 19. Beauchamp hit the brakes. "We're almost there," he said. "You gotta close your eyes so it's a surprise." Rob closed his eyes and the Jeep went forward slowly. "Don't cheat now," Beauchamp said. "Keep them eyes closed." "Yes, sir," said Rob. "All right," Beauchamp finally said. "Go on, open them up." He pulled the Jeep up as close to the tiger cage as possible without driving right into it. "Tell me what you see," he crowed. "Tell me what is before your very eyes." "A tiger," said Rob. He let his mouth drop open. He tried to look excited and amazed. "Darn straight," said Beauchamp. "King of the jungle, and he's all mine." "Wow," said Rob. "You own him?" "That's right," said Beauchamp. "Fellow I know owed me some money and paid me with a tiger. That's the way real men do business. In tigers. He came complete with the cage." The toothpick in the side of his mouth danced up and down, and Beauchamp put a finger up to steady it into silence. "What are you going to do with him?" Rob asked. "I'm studying the options. I figure I could set him up out front of the Kentucky Star. Have him draw me some more business into the motel." The tiger stood and stared at Beauchamp. Beauchamp looked away from him. He tapped his thick fingers on the steering wheel. "I also might just kill him," Beauchamp said, "and skin him and make me a tiger coat. I ain't made up my mind. He's a lot of work, I'll tell you that. He needs meat twice a day. That's where you come in. I need you to come out here and feed him. $2 every time you do it. How's that sound?" Rob swallowed hard. "How do I get the meat in the cage?" he asked. Beauchamp dug into his pocket and pulled out a set of keys. "With these," he said. He shook the keys and they gave a sad jingle. "Don't pay no attention to the big keys. They're for the locks on the door. Open them up and that tiger will get out and eat you for sure. You understand? I ought not to give you this whole set, but I know you won't open up that door. Right? You ain't no fool, right?" Rob, terrified that keys to the cage existed and that they were about to be handed to him, nodded. "See this tiny key?" Beauchamp said. Rob nodded again. "That's for the food door. Right there." Beauchamp pointed at a small door at the bottom of the cage. "You just open that up, toss the meat in a piece at a time like this." Beauchamp swung himself out of the Jeep with a grunt. He reached in the back seat for the grocery bag, took out a piece of meat, bent over, and unlocked the tiny door. He threw the meat in. And the tiger leaped forward, and Beauchamp took a quick step backwards, stumbling. "That's all there is to it," he said, straightening up. His forehead was shiny with sweat, and his hands were trembling. "What's the tiger's name?" Rob asked. "Name?" said Beauchamp. "He ain't got a name. You gotta name something before you toss it a piece of meat." Rob shrugged and blushed. He bent over to scratch his leg so that he wouldn't have to look at Beauchamp's sweaty, angry face. "You want to get introduced proper," said Beauchamp in a mocking voice. "Well then, get out of the Jeep." Rob climbed down. Beauchamp grabbed hold of a fence and shook it, and the tiger looked up from his meat. His muzzle was red with blood. He stared at Beauchamp with a fierce look in his eyes that was familiar to Rob. "Hey," Beauchamp shouted, "you see this boy here?" And he points to Rob. "He's your meal ticket. Not me. It's this boy. He's got the keys now. Understand? I don't got them no more. This boy's got them. He's your boy." The tiger stared at Beauchamp a minute more, and then he slowly lowered his head and started back to work on the meat. "Now you two know each other," said Beauchamp. He pulled a tattered bandana from his pocket and wiped the sweat off his forehead. On the hair-raising ride back to the Kentucky Star, Rob realized who the tiger's stare reminded him of. It was Sistine. He knew that when he told her he had the keys to the cage, her eyes would glow with the same fierce light. He knew that she would insist that now they had to let the tiger go. Chapter 20. The last thing Beauchamp said to him was, "Don't forget now, this is your business deal. It don't concern nobody else. You take that bag of meat and hide it somewhere, and I'll bring you more meat tomorrow. In the meantime, you keep your mouth shut." At 3 o'clock, the school bus pulled up, belching and gasping and sighing. Norton and Billy Threemonger started pelting Rob with date palms before the bus even came to a complete stop. The bus door opened and Sistine came running toward him, dodging the dates, looking as serious as a soldier on a battlefield. "Let's go see the tiger," she shouted to him. Rob was dismayed to see that she was still wearing his shirt and jeans. "Where's your dress?" "In here," she said. She held up the same grocery bag that he had given her the night before. "I changed as soon as I got out of the house. My mother doesn't know I found a book in the library today and read about big cats. Do you know what panthers live in the woods here? We could set the tiger free and he could live with them. Come on," she said. She started to run. Rob ran too, but the keys to the cage felt heavy in his pocket, and they bumped up against his leg and slowed him down so that Sistine beat him there. When he arrived, she was standing pressed up against the fence, her fingers wrapped in the chain link. "Tigers are an endangered species, you know," she said. "It's up to us to save them." "Watch out. He don't attack you," Rob said. "He won't. Tigers only attack people if they're desperately hungry." "Well, this one ain't hungry." "How do you know?" Sistine asked, turning around and looking at him. "Well," said Rob, "he ain't skinny, is he? He don't look starved." Sistine stared at him hard, and Rob opened his mouth and let the words fall out. "Keys," he said, every secret magic word he had ever known. Tiger and cancer and Caroline, every word in his suitcase seemed to fall right out of him when he stood before Sistine. "What?" she said. "Keys," he said again. He cleared his throat. "I got the keys to the cage." "How?" "Beauchamp," he told her. "He hired me to feed his tiger, and he gave me the keys." All right, said Sistine. Now all we have to do is open the locks and let him go. No, said Rob. Are you crazy? She asked him. It ain't safe. It ain't safe for him. My friend Willie Mae. She had a bird and let it go, and it just got ate up. You're not making sense, she told him. This is a tiger, not a bird. And I don't know who Willie Mae is, and I don't care. You can't stop me from letting this tiger go. I'll do it without the keys. I'll saw the lock off myself. Don't, said Rob. Don't, she mocked back. And then she spun around and grabbed hold of the cage and shook it the same way Beauchamp had earlier that day. I hate this place, she said. I can't wait for my dad to come and get me. When he gets here, I'm going to make him come out here and set this tiger free. That's the first thing we'll do. She shook the cage harder. I'll get you out of here, she said to the pacing tiger. I promise. She rattled the cage as if she were the one who was locked up. The tiger paced back and forth without stopping. Don't, said Rob. But she didn't stop. She shook the cage and beat her head against the chain link, and then he heard her gasp. He was afraid that maybe she was choking. He went and stood next to her, and he saw that she was crying. Crying, Sistine. He stood beside her, terrified and amazed. When his mother was alive, when he still cried about things, she had been the one who comforted him. So she would cup her hand around the back of his neck and say to him, You go on and cry. I got you. I got good hold of you. Before Rob could think whether it was right or whether it was wrong, he reached out and put his palm on Sistine's neck. He could feel her pulse beating in time with the tiger's pacing. He whispered to her the same words his mother had whispered to him. I got you, he told her. I got good hold of you. Sistine cried and cried. She cried as if she would never stop, and she did not tell him to take his hand away. Well, that wraps up chapter 20. As the plot surely thickens, well, I wonder what's going to happen next. At any rate, come on back tomorrow. We'll see what happens in chapter 21 and 22. Meanwhile, you all take care of yourselves. Be safe, stay out of trouble, be kind to people, all right? See you tomorrow.